I'm Scott Al Miller. This is my life living in León, Nicaragua. I get a lot of viewer questions, but today I got one that was pretty hard and I'm not sure how I'm best going to be able to answer it. We're going to try. So viewer Leo, who has been watching the show for a while and was on the live stream last week, asked me, well, let's break it down and go to a more basic level. We often give advice in a lot of different areas, but he really wants to know when you're coming in for relocating, not as a tourist, coming to Nicaragua, what do you do when you get off the plane in Managua? Like literally, what are the steps as you get off that plane to go on to the next level? What do you do next? And that's actually a pretty good question. I think a lot of people get stumped at this point, and it is legitimately a kind of difficult moment as you suddenly are affronted with this whole new world and so many options and so many questions, and you're not even sure what exactly you're looking at, let alone what you're supposed to do, and you're just overwhelmed when it should be a very pleasurable experience moving to paradise. So today we're going to be discussing in a very casual way what you might want to do as you get off the plane on your very first arrival at Managua Airport here in beautiful paradisial, something like that, Nicaragua. So you've decided to move to Nicaragua. You're arriving at Managua Airport and your life journey in your new country is just about to begin. That's fantastic. You're feeling great. There's so much wonderful stuff going on. Your new life is calling to you. You are ready to hit the ground, but you have hit the ground. Now what do you do? Well, there's going to be a lot of different directions this can go, but we're going to do our best to give you kind of a guide. And I apologize for just how windy it is. We are in the summer season here. It is February in Nicaragua, and we are unseasonably windy. It is really crazy. I feel like a storm is rolling in. It's actually quite cool at this point. So if you can hear the wind, I apologize. The cable above my head is whapping around something like crazy. I can see stuff blowing everywhere in the yards, and the dogs have run away. I'm gonna move the camera just a little bit to get the light back as the dogs go crazy. All right, so let's get to it. So first thing is gonna depend where you plan on living. So there's a lot of questions here, but presumably the majority of you are not gonna be living in Managua. So you're gonna need to get to a place you're going to go. You probably have a lot of luggage with you, so those are things we wanna accommodate for a little bit. You can, of course, if you're coming in the middle of the night, you're gonna get a hotel directly across from the airport, or you're going to pre-arrange travel to wherever you're going to go. So consider having someone lined up. And this is a good spot to spend a little bit of money. Not that you should be spending a lot of money very often, and not for everyone, but for many people when you're first arriving in Nicaragua, that initial getting picked up at the airport can be pretty stressful. If you're coming out here to Western Nicaragua, for example, I have a driver that I recommend to people. Anyone who works with me out here can send you on WhatsApp. Of course, wait, let's back up. We should be talking about what you need to do just before you get to Managua. So scratch that. Okay, let's go back. You need to make sure you have your WhatsApp set up. You need to make sure you have a plan for what you're going to do for your phone. Think about, do you have T-Mobile and you're good to go and you really don't need to do anything when you first arrive, or do you have some other service and you need to get a SIM card as soon as you're landing on the ground? Be ready for whatever that decision is. Make sure you're prepared to action it. We got videos that go into all the details, just you need to make that decision ahead of time. But before you do anything, you need to have WhatsApp ready. You need to know how to use it. You need to know how to send a location. Like, these are not skills that you can be safely in Nicaragua without, because it's part of everyday life. Everyone uses WhatsApp, so you need to know how to use it. You need to know how to send pictures. You need to know how to send videos. You need to know how to send your current location. You need to know how to send a tracking location where your keeps track of you over, say, 15 minutes or an hour. You need to understand how all those things work. You need to know how to add new contacts, whether from a QR code or popping them into your contacts and then being able to reach them. You need to know, if you have a computer, how to put WhatsApp on your computer so you can use it as well. You need some of this flexibility. You gotta have this, right? Make sure you have working phones and know how those things work. You don't want to be struggling with the basic technology as you're coming into the country. You want those things to be second nature. On your WhatsApp, make sure you're in our expats group. We have Expats of Nicaragua. If you haven't joined it, look in the show notes. The information's in there. Of course, it's free. It's just a WhatsApp group. Join that. Mute it because it's a ridiculous amount of conversation, but have that at the ready. And also join, if you're moving to León, for example, have the León group that you've joined. If you're going to move to Granada, join that group and so forth. So you have some some general resources. How do I do this? How do I do that? I'm in an emergency. Who can help me? But then also have local stuff. Where can I find a hotel that you like in this town? Where can I find a good coffee in this town, and so forth? Have those ready. Make sure you're a member of those groups. Anything like that, any resources that you're planning on using, make sure you know how to contact them. They know when you're coming. Don't surprise people. Give people lots of warning. A lot of people who move in here, some this past week gave me tons of warning. I had months, maybe 6 months to a year to mentally prepare for when people are arriving, but other people will be like, I really need your help with a whole bunch of stuff. I'm already at the airport. I had someone do this to me one time. They literally didn't contact me and were like, I'm expecting you to help me. So first of all, they didn't hire me, so I can't adjust my schedule that much. I have a job and I have every moment of my life booked out under normal circumstances. So I love helping people, but I have very limited time. So not only were they coming in and didn't give me any warning, they also didn't arrange anything with me, didn't know how to contact me. They didn't need a lot of help, but they were looking to meet up with me. And then as they were getting on the plane, they sent me a note. They're like, we're expecting to meet with you. I'm like, okay, I don't have a car, I don't have a plan, I don't have time off from work, I don't have, nothing's lined up. I take care of my kids, I have so many businesses that I need to be working with. I'm a very busy person. I can't just shuffle my schedule at the last second short of emergencies. So it's really important that I have lots of time to get things on my calendar and whatever. And they said, and we're getting on the plane and we don't have any kind of service, so we're just going to show up at a place and I expect you to meet me there. It wasn't a place I could get to. And he never checked with me that I could, never asked me, never did anything. So this is an extreme case, and obviously I never ended up meeting them because that was insane. But that actually happened, and people will often do this last second, oh, I'm going to be in town tomorrow. Hope you can, hope you're free for coffee. I do not have free time. So for anybody who's wondering something, and this doesn't just go for me, right? Almost any expat that you're talking to, chances are you can have, make lots of friends. We would love to meet with you guys. Absolutely. Ask any of the people that have met with me. I love meeting people. I love being social. My community is fantastic. It's so much fun to meet with you guys. But if you're coming in and you know Elton, someone like that, and you're like, hey, I'm going to be there tomorrow. We're like, we have, work crews that are scheduled. We have meetings to be at. We have flights that we're on. I'm often in other countries. There's just so many things. There's no way for me to just magically be available. I don't sit around with an open schedule. It may look like that because I live in paradise, but I am a workaholic and I have 4 jobs. Every moment of my life is booked to the minute. Well, if someone is picking me up and they're 30 minutes late, my life falls apart. I have a very tight schedule. Every day I have blocks of time booked just so I can do the show and stuff. And every little interruption during that is just completely derailing. Having to drop everything to go try to meet up with someone is an incredible thing. So I love doing it. That doesn't mean don't try to meet with me. Absolutely try to meet with me. Just give me some time so I can put it on the schedule and shuffle things around. I'm totally willing to do that. I don't want to be missing people, and everyone else Elton's going to be the same thing. He'll be off in the mountains on a work truck, and you'll be like, I can't just show up in another city hours away at a moment's notice. He's got to know not to go out to the field, not to do some filming or whatever. Everybody's going to be in that same boat. So that kind of stuff. Make sure people have warning and you aren't springing it on them more than you absolutely need to. Normally you have some amount of warning before you get on that plane or whatever to come down. So you've done that stuff, you're prepped, you're getting off the plane. Have a ride lined up in most cases. My driver will come out from Leon, not my personal driver, but the driver I use, will come out and bring you to Leon. Yeah, it's going to cost you a bit of money. It's not going to be $2 like taking the public shuttle, but it'll give you a comfort of getting to wherever you're going. Your hotel, wherever you're going to stay, they can arrange these things for you. Make sure you've got your first several nights of accommodation lined up and assume you're going to be in a hotel for a while, unless you have already figured other things out, which is fantastic if you can do that. But assume you're going to be coming down and you're going to be in a hotel for a while. So look for a hotel situation that's very affordable, that you're able to handle for quite some length of time. If you're moving, avoid at all costs the temptation to turn into a tourist as you arrive. You're in the middle of an international relocation. This is not your moment to be a tourist. You are about to be living in a new country and have unlimited tourism opportunities for the rest of your life. Do not cause heartache and stress now. Don't trigger disaster. I have seen multiple people move down and decide to completely ignore all common sense and all advice and just burn their entire budget, their entire mental energy just being a tourist, just doing, oh, I'm going to go volcano boarding, I'm going to go on a boat tour, I'm going to go out to an island, I'm going to go dancing, and go to a fancy restaurant, all while burning through their budget, and at the end suddenly going, okay, I have to find a place to live tomorrow. I've not looked into it at all. And then everyone says, you do realize we've been warning you that it takes a long time to find some place to live. And they go, I can't handle this, it's too much stress, and they leave. They never even tried. They never started the process, right? They did everything to avoid it, which makes sense. It's a lot of fun to avoid it. Actually finding a place could be stressful, but that's your number one goal, is to find a place to live. Everything else can wait. You don't have to worry about residency paperwork under normal circumstances. If you're coming from most of the places that my audience comes from, you're good to be here for like 90 days without even thinking about it, and 180 without going to a border. And at that point, once you've done a border run, then you can start worrying about paperwork. That's way down the road. Right now, housing is everything when you first get off that plane. So you get off the plane, get to a hotel. If you have a phone number, hopefully you do, get Pedidos Ya loaded up and ready. That's P-E-D-I-D-O-S Y-A, space Y-A. And that's Pedidos, like orders, Ya, like already, are on their way. So that is going to be super important, because you can order food delivered. Again, these first few days, spend a little bit of money, keep your life easy. If you want to walk out to a restaurant, great. You want to find some place, you want to take a taxi, great. Don't feel you have to. Also get InDrive installed. Have these things ready on your phone. Don't just install them after you get here. Make sure everything's installed. You know how to log in. You have an account with Pedidos Ya. You can't actually use it till you have a phone number here, but have everything else ready so that you're good to go. Make sure before you come down, make sure you have the right credit cards and debit cards that make sense, or at least enough, and then get more later. You need to have all these ducks in a row, because it's going to make all this complicated, stressful stuff really simple. You'll see, we talk to people who are like, well, I do these bank transfers, I had to do all this stuff. They always come up with complicated things. And for some people, it could make sense from time to time. But for getting started, having a good bank account, good credit cards where you don't have to worry about fees, and you're just able to get money when you need it and just do what you need to do, is so stress-free. It will make your life easy. So don't create stress where it doesn't have to exist. That will help you so much. So this initial transport, and of course, if you have a driver, yeah, they can stop anywhere you want for food. And it's your first day. Go to Burger King if you need to. Go to McDonald's. Don't worry about eating local in those first few minutes. Do whatever makes you comfortable for those first few days. Eventually, you're going to have to get out of your comfort zone. But you're already in a new country. You're out of your comfort zone in 99% of cases. So accept that you're now hedging your comfort zone, not trying to push it. In most cases, I think you're going to want to be getting a hostel, a place where maybe not a shared room. And remember, hostels do not imply shared rooms. That is not how it works. That's an Americanism. It's fine. Many of them do, because Americans are looking for that. Many people do want shared rooms. If you're okay with a shared room, that's going to make your budget go farther. But in most cases, that's not what you want. But you probably do want to get a small efficiency room, a place where maybe you can cook for yourself. Definitely a place that doesn't cost very much. Plan on staying in a hotel for the long haul. This could be weeks, not days. That's important to understand, that you're not likely going to find a good apartment right away, and accept that you're probably going to be looking for unfurnished. Remember, we're talking about if you're moving to the country, not if you're just here for a vacation. So that's the context for all of this. So don't panic. This is just for people who are moving in and aren't sure what to do as they get off that plane. And especially for singles, if you have a family, you need to have a little bit more accommodation ready. You're probably going to spend a little bit more, have an Airbnb or whatever. You're going to want some place where you have plenty of space, and you don't have to worry about things. Don't put yourself into a situation where you're going to discover that you're dependent on a single house and a real estate agent that maybe ends up not being, an actual agent. We've seen this happen a lot, where, we talk about real estate agents and some things to be wary about, but we're talking about a seller's agent, a representative of an apartment. So that's something you're reasonably going to be working with when you're looking at a rental for when you first move down. And but in many cases, you end up with people who are not actual agents at all, and it's just a person putting themselves out there and hoping they'll find a house by the time you get here. They'll do a bait and switch, all kinds of things. So be very careful that you're not heavily dependent on a single person's word, that you actually have some resources that you're able to talk to, like an established hotel. Over time, you can get a lot more flexible. You can take a lot more chances, but these first days, you're going to be very stressed. You're not going to know what's going on. You're going to be learning a lot of things. This is not the time to be introducing additional problems. So you are going to bleed cash a little bit, but you can get pretty cheap. There's a lot of hostels where Nicaraguans stay long term. They're very safe. They're completely comfortable. Maybe they don't have air conditioning, right? You're going to be doing a lot of adapting. This is a learning process. And immediately, your job is not to go out and check out all the restaurants. It's not to do, once you have settled and gotten enough sleep, your job is to start looking for a long-term housing situation. There's two ways to go. One is jumping straight into a unfurnished long-term rental. The other is taking kind of month to month or just a couple months at a time furnished, and you're going to be paying a lot more for that. In many cases, many around the country, you're going to be looking at Airbnb for that, or something very similar, something that feels like an Airbnb, and you're going to be paying a lot more premium price for that. We've got videos that explain why furnished places are so much more expensive. So you really only want to do this for a few months, but you may need a few months to really get to know neighborhoods, to take time to look for an unfurnished place, to make some contacts and start doing that. That's going to be the hardest thing, making contacts and getting out there. But if you're watching my channel, you're part of my audience. You've got those like WhatsApp groups. You can make friends so fast. Watching people move in, hop on there, introduce themselves. People are like getting together and doing meetups and stuff all the time. We're going to start doing meetups out here in Western Nicaragua with my people pretty soon. I really want to do this. I think it's a fantastic idea. So I'm looking forward to that a lot. So be watchful for that, for actual getting together events, like going to a restaurant and everybody's just hanging out that knows each other from the channel. That's going to be really cool. But get on the WhatsApp and just ask questions. Like, I'm looking for people will be like, I know somebody, I have heard from someone, I've got someone you can talk to, and they'll help you pretty quickly. I know someone moved in just yesterday from the time that I'm videoing this and ended up spending the whole day in the car with friends and found multiple places to live. They also lost them the next day because of drama, because it's Nicaragua and these things happen. But we'll get to that adventure hopefully in an interview coming up. But you can find something pretty quickly and assume you're going to be spending a little bit of money in those first months, especially if you're looking for furnished or something a little bit nicer, something to transition. You're going to be spending much more, like $400 or $500 a month. And of course, some of you will spend way more than that. But you're going to need at least that probably to get an apartment that you really want to live in while you look for a place. In almost all cases, long term, your goal is going to be an unfurnished apartment past the first couple months. Unfurnished will save you so much money and give you more comfort and flexibility. It's just an investment. So that is where you're ultimately going, but that's the farthest we want to talk about. We're really talking about those first couple days as you get off the plane. So you're going to get off the plane. You're going to have all of your stuff with you. You're not going to bring a bunch of weird stuff that gets problems with the aduana. Don't bring things as if you weren't a tourist. Just stick to your tourist stuff. Figure we'll have things sent later. You'll buy things later. Or maybe you'll go back home and bring things with you later when you have a little bit more confidence. We can talk about that in other videos, but that's a good way to go. You don't want problems on those first days. It's not worth it 99% of the time. Make sure you have that driver. Make sure you have a hotel that gets you through at least the first several days, meaning like a week or more, not 1 to 3 days. A lot of people, I'm like, you got to have some time. And they're like, I got 2 days. We're good. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like 2 days is not enough to find a place. It takes time to sign a contract. It takes time to get a house ready. It takes time to look at these. It takes time to get between places. Like everything takes a bit because we don't have these organized housing markets and we don't have a large number of people constantly moving in. So it's not all organized and easy like that. It's not at all what people imagine. You got to have more time. Plus, you're going to be learning a lot really quickly as you're doing this. So you got to have time built in for that. So you need many days, at least a week in a hotel. Easily a few. If you get a really affordable one, you'll be comfortable with that. In hotels, you can leave early under normal circumstances. Probably a short term, and that's what you're going to want. And Airbnb really does work pretty well for that. Yes, it's a price premium, but it gives you more protections. It's easier, and searching is much faster. And then you're going to be exploring neighborhoods and so forth from there. But if you're lucky, also look for unfurnished places. Look for long-term leases in those first week or two. And if you happen to find the right situation, consider doing that right away. It's going to save you that much more money, and that'll just give you that much more time to settle into your new place and get to know it, if you are confident that you have found a neighborhood that you're willing to commit to for at least half a year and likely a year. I think that's kind of it. WhatsApp, SIM cards, what to do with your luggage, how to get a ride. Leo, ask more questions, get down in the show notes. I'm hoping that this gives you a starting point of like realistically what you're going to do in those first days and what not to do. Do not act like a tourist. Do not go swimming. Do not go do fancy restaurants. Maybe if you're completely done at night, you're like, I'm just done for the day. I got nothing to do but have a rum and a steak. Okay, that's fine. But you want to treat it like a full-time job. You got to find the right place to live. Don't get distracted with a million other things. That's your one job. Once you have at least that short-term apartment, then you can start relaxing. Still don't do tourist stuff right away. Still give it some time. But then you can be like, okay, now I can breathe. Everything's good. I have my own space. I can always extend a month if I need to. Now I can start checking out neighborhoods. Now I can start getting the lay of the land. Now I can start going for hikes and talking to people and going out with the Friday night crowd. If you're coming here to Leon, of course, that makes the equation a little bit different. If you're going, we're assuming you're going to Matagalpa or Esteli or Hinotepe, Rivas, where we don't really have a strong network of people. We do have viewers in all those places. Get in that expat group, you will meet them. But if you're coming out like here to Leon, you can instantly be like, hey, where is the crowd going tonight? And we can be like, hey, it's Tuesday night. A bunch of people are going dancing at the Simple. Hey, it's Wednesday night. A bunch of people are doing karaoke and Kontiki. Hey, it's Friday. People are going to Via Via for live music and whatever. Every night kind of has, not every night, but most nights have some event that people are doing that you can go meet up. And there's also nicaragua.com. You can see where things look interesting. But that's not going to give you a good guide to like where the crew is. But if you're in that like Leon group, just ask in there, and a lot of people will be like, hey, yeah, we're all going here tonight. Like, it's not official. It's just where we tend to go. And so it's easy to meet up and be like, hey, here's like 8 people that are just having drinks that are from the community here. And you'd be like, oh, I know who you are. I know who you are. Oh my gosh, you guys all get together on Friday nights and hang out because we've all been here for a long time. And it's just a great way to meet a lot of people really quickly and get insights and share your insecurities, ask your questions, and do all those things. It can be really, really good. Even if it doesn't end up being your long-term group of people that you hang out with forever, they're probably going to be an important transitional group for you because you're going to see like how they live and get some ideas, and you'll adjust as to what is right for you. Maybe you like staying in more. Maybe you like going out more. Maybe you like different weather and it's not the right vibe for you. Maybe we all smell and we're not who you want to hang out with, right? It's different for everybody, but they'll give you a starting point. It'll make it a little bit better for you. The dog is coughing again as he does. Thanks for joining me. Like and subscribe. Leo, again, get down, expand on what you're looking for in this, and we're happy to dig more into it. It's good information. It's good to help people get this feel of what they need to do and get that confidence. Okay, there's a few things I can do to like avoid this. That's going to make me not stress out. Do this thing so I have this comfort. Got it, right? And don't be, under normal circumstances, like, don't waste money, but don't be overly cheap. I see both of these things being big stumbling blocks in those first days. People will often be like, I'm going to go so cheap because I'm going from expensive wherever I'm coming from to super cheap Nicaragua. I must be able to live on $5 a day. And it's like, yeah, a lot of people ask us, can you survive on $5 a day? And as a theoretical experiment of can you keep yourself from becoming homeless? Yes, we think you could pull it off, and we'll go into how you would do it. But to come down and be like, I'm going to try living on $5 a day, you are going to die, right? You are not going to be able to eat. You don't know what's going on. The people who are trying to do those things, it's under the assumption that they are masters of the environment. They know exactly what the culture is. They know how to find their own food by foraging for berries in the hedgerows, right? They're pushing the limits. Don't try to do that. But I see lots of people who make this leap to, it's so cheap, I can just go to basically free. And then they don't have a roof over their head. They don't know what to do, and they feel really stressed. Or others, they treat it like it's the U.S. and they spend money as if they're at the same U.S. rates. They're staying at the most luxurious hotels, and of course it's great, but they're burning their cash really quickly. And then they're like, well, now I have to be frugal because I spent all this money. I thought it was going to be cheap, and we're like, nobody does this stuff. Like, you just spent a month living in a luxury hotel night to night. Like, that's extreme, right? There's a happy medium. Find a place that's big enough, that's comfortable and low cost, but don't try to go to a level where it's just completely crazy. Look on Booking, look on Hostel World, look on Airbnb, look what the options are, and realize whatever you're seeing on there are cheaper things here, but the idea that you can just, if it's $20 and you can find a place that's good per night at $20 on Hostel World, coming and being like, can I do it for $5? No, 1/4 the price is not going to net you a reasonable place. Somebody somewhere is going to give you a couch to sleep on for $5. But that's kind of what you're talking about. Don't do that unless you truly don't have any more money than that. You want something a little bit better. You will appreciate it. But with these little bits of tools, I think you're going to get those first days and not waste your money, not panic, feel good, and know what to look for. I think we can make this work. Thanks for joining me. Like and subscribe. As always, we got you can buy me a coffee. We got the community link. We got the WhatsApp group you can join. We have the GoFundMe for Marcela, which thank you everyone who is helping support her in her stage 4 Hodgkin Lymphoma Cancer journey. As I'm recording this, she's just about to come here in a day or two back to Leon. She lives here. She does her cancer treatments in Managua. We'll give her updates mostly on Thursdays on the live stream. For those who have not been on Thursdays, we tried to do a live stream, which is a lot of fun and is like the WhatsApp group, but it's a chance for you to ask questions and have me give you feedback rather than peer-to-peer interaction most of the time, but people talk through the whole thing. We do it all Thursday evening, almost every week. It is a lot of fun. I really encourage you to be on there. Leo, who asked the question, has been on there, so thank you to Leo for joining us there. And as always, you can hit like, you can share this video with someone, you can watch another video. Just watching another video, just letting it run in the background helps a lot with the algorithm. And but everyone you tell about the show and get hooked on it as well. I think we got a lot of great information about Nicaragua, Latin America, becoming an expat, how to live abroad, all those kinds of things. These are important skills to have, and this is an important time in world history for many people to be leveraging their ability to live abroad. I think it's an opportunity for a great many, and potentially a wonderful new life waiting for so many of you. Thanks for joining me. I will see all of you tomorrow.